that kills animals.
But we don't understand the language. He has a point. Until like an animal can converse with you, you don't know the rate of their intelligence. Only because you have to go to their environment. And you know all the stories, how many throughout history dolphins have come and saved people and taken them. Kids have fallen off, boats, and the dolphins come and take them to shore.
Right.
I mean,
but that you see, that's good, very good point. But again, it doesn't prove, it doesn't even support that dolphins are smarter, more intelligent than human beings. And we didn't have time to watch the video. The professor from UC San Diego, Mark Serrano, he talked about evolution of the brain. He talked about in the history that you evolve from say dolphins. Compare the brains of dolphins and whales and birds. They can make a very complicated language. We talk about the whale language. How the whale communicates with the other whales, and he compares a whale's communication with birds' communication. It's not really a very complicated stuff. Just a lot of different sounds. But human language are much different. It's very different in the sense that we can decompose a sentence into the units and recombine the units into different sentences. So it's fundamentally really what is true. Whether we're biased or not, it depends upon whether we are indeed.
I think what bothers me, and now that you've made this clear, I think the problem that I have with this is that we humans, because we think we have the most complex language and because we have the most complex minds and the ability to think, that somehow that makes us superior to other animals. And I think that's where it bothers me.
Yeah, that part I don't draw the inference. I mean, I don't think that we are, say, morally superior than animals, and we, say, have a higher privilege than them. I don't believe that is a necessary conclusion. The first part, we've done it also, it's really the scientific part. Whether we are more intelligent, we do have higher capacity than other animal species. So that's really a scientific question. If you don't have any support, you just believe it, then it's biased. But if you do have evidence to support it, then it's probably not biased.
Yeah, and I think what it is when you read a lot of this, especially like the philosophy stuff, it's like maybe they don't directly say it, but somehow it's indirectly inferred that somehow we are a superior animal on this planet, and I think that somehow philosophy has to kind of begin to look at that differently and go.
Superior is a very vague and beautiful word. It can mean many different things. The superior intelligence, superior in say moral capacity, superior in say value. It really means different things by the same word. Also, many philosophers actually argue that animals should be treated equally, at least to be given proper rights. I don't know whether you have heard of this guy, Peter Singer, a Princeton philosopher. So very controversial guy who argued for the rights of animals and who argues for that animals should be treated, at least every sentient, as long as animals can feel pain, can suffer from pain, they should be treated equally as every human being. So he was very controversial because he proclaimed that if you don't want to experiment upon human baby, then you shouldn't experiment upon say mature mammal, let's say a monkey or a cat. So that's stirred a lot of controversy. When he was hired by Princeton, they even protested it.
It seems to me really unscientific to proclaim that humans have more free will than animals, for one thing.
Why?
Because it's been proven that animals do have free will, and they're able to communicate at extremely high levels. There's Coco the chimpanzee. There's orangutans who can communicate on their level, and they can communicate on our level, but we can't communicate on their level. They can learn sign language, but we can't learn orangutan. So what I'm saying is, I just think that seems to me like really like you're really being very dismissive and very species centric.
No, I try to be as open.
Not you, but I mean just just because this is something that kind of hurts me too. It's just like I don't have a question to raise. But I look at this, I try to look at it from sort of an objective perspective, which is like, why are we so adamant about, putting ourselves above all other species? And putting ourselves, is it because we need to, validate the fact that this is our domain? Is it in that we control the situation? Does it make us feel better about, animal testing in laboratories because that we're superior to these creatures? And my second, I'm sorry, real quick, my second question or comment is, what exactly, because I'm not getting some of Dennett's metaphors, and by some I mean all. Even the Dumbo one, which I love Dumbo. I wasn't really sure exactly what he was saying. Is he the crow, or is the crow somebody else?
He's believing in the secret, I think, right?
What is free will in Dennett's definition?
No, we'll talk about Dumbo later. In response to the first question, why we have to believe that human beings seem to be superior, let's say, using the vague word. It's really we have at least two reasons to investigate this issue. The first, really, we want to find out the truth. Whether human beings and animals are really different. Whether human beings indeed have a different capacity, high intelligence, than animals. So that really, all the scientific inquiries, the purpose of find out the truth. And the second question really is really important for not just for us, but also for animals and for Earth. If, like Daniel said, if we were indeed the brain of the Earth, we take care of the future. And if we don't take care of the future, let's say we destroy the environment, we destroy the Earth, and everything dies, right? So if that's really, we have the obligation, in the sense we have a higher capacity and we do have a higher obligation to do the same, to take care of not just ourselves, but also the whole environment. So it's really important to find out the truth and to act upon the truth. So in that sense, it's not really just, okay, we're better. Sometimes it comes with a price because you are more obliged, you have more obligation.
I think that's arguable too, because if you believe in diminishing returns, then at what point are we too intelligent? He's in a way we're sort of like the curator of the earth, or the shepherds.
Yeah, the shepherds.
But I mean, we're and the fate of the earth is in our hands. But really, the fate of the earth is in our hands because we destroyed it to such a large degree.
Yeah. I mean, that's not just us. I mean, animals did it too. I don't know what happened to dinosaurs. They just didn't take care of themselves.
Well, at least they left the place the way they found it. And left it with a...
Nobody knows.
Yeah, I know nobody knows. I mean, whatever.
No, they do know. There was I teach second grade, and one of our units was studying about fossils. And there was an article that was just friendly written because the theory was about giant meteor that hit the Earth and then caused all the volcanoes drew up and whatnot. And they finally, scientists have now said, this is the theory. For years and years, they hovered around it saying, we can't prove it. But they just did. It was in a newspaper article like 2 or 3 months ago. That it was the meteor.
Good.
Giant, the one hit next to the 7-mile wide one, boom, caused everything.
It's really amazing. Just post that link. I just feel amazed, but
it was in the Times. I'll have to find it. One of my students brought it in the article.
Yeah. I don't know if it has been concluded. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's just happened recently. There was a blip in the paper about it. They finally said.
So still hypothesis, but now it's
no, that was
great.
I was just going to say, and all these interesting ideas that are coming from people. If Dennett, for example, who proposes the idea that, he's obviously a naturalist and believes in evolution and science. And if we were to believe that, right, we're talking about animals, right, 4.5 billion years ago when the Earth was created, we all came from one thing. So, in reality, animals are our relatives.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In a sense, if you talk about
and plants and
relatives in a very general way,
yeah.
They are relatives.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you notice like your structure the other night when you were showing the nerves, the different kinds of nerves? And if you look at certain kinds